Good morning and welcome to Mountain Harmony Gardening. I'm Kristen. Today is part 3 of the changes that we're going to be making to our gardening beds. So one of the biggest challenges I have back here in this area is the fact that we can't walk down that part of the garden bed. And when we put this in, it's equal distance from the trailer to the fence on both sides. So this is right in the middle of this area. And I made enough walk space for us to be able to go down both sides. But the raspberry bushes kind of took over. I didn't expect them to do as well back here. I thought they would do about how they do on the other side of the garden. And I was very, very mistaken. So that is the first change we're going to make, is to the raspberry trellis. When we first put in this area back here, we put down the pavers and we left 3 little wells for me to transplant raspberries from the other side of the yard over here. And I thought I'd have 3 nice espaliered raspberry bushes. They took over. They're growing underneath the house, they're coming up in the flower bed, they're everywhere. And that first year, I only had a couple of those green garden stakes that you've seen in the yard to hold them up. They grew all the way over into the flower bed or vegetable bed. And we couldn't walk back here, we couldn't get to harvest the peppers, it was a mess. So this year, I decided that we were going to put up the 2x4s and we were going to try to use the twine to contain them a little bit better. It worked a little bit better, but as you saw in my other videos, they're still hanging over. When we cleaned up the garden bed, we kind of stuck them back over here. But when this is full and green and leaves haven't started to die back for the year, it's just too much. You cannot walk back here at all, which makes harvesting the raspberries really hard, and this side of the garden bed back here gets neglected. So we're gonna have to change it again.
Early last spring, I built this trellis for Kristen. Built it kind of tall because didn't know how high the raspberries were gonna get. So I'm going to add another arm across there. Get rid of the twine. They started stretching really bad and just didn't work. So I'm going to use baling wire, or baling twine as Kristen likes to call it. Loop it through all the holes, crisscross it, and that should do the trick.
We're going to start the raspberry trellis project next spring, because the best time to cut the raspberries back down is in the spring. The other thing that we need to do is we need to prune up the lilac bush, because it is growing way too far this way and it's getting hard to walk this direction or to get into the backyard. So I'm going to give it a good haircut next spring. Down the side of the house has become nothing but storage. You can see I have my T-post and my tomato cages, and this is sort of my potting bench. It's just a shelving unit, and I store some potting soil, some pots. I've got some sulfur in the bottom pot down there, a trash can, a hose. Found my rake. And this is where, down this whole area, because it goes all the way down the side of the house. So it's pretty long. I would like to start composting back here because there's enough room to put in compost bins. And I would also like some sort of little tiny shed that we could put all of our tools in, because I've run out of space in my tool shed. And it's just, there's got to be some way to get like a potting bench in here. Right, Donnie?
That's right.
So this is our other area that we really want to work on. Plus the raspberries are normally like this. And I kind of stuck them in here for the shot, just to try to get them out of the way. So this is actually a really good sunny area too. And I'm also thinking about somehow doing a raised bed over here where the potting shed, or not potting shed, potting bench kind of area, storage junk is at. I want to grow something here too. And I've also thought about maybe doing like an arbor right here where the raspberries could grow over it. So there's a bunch of different ideas that we've been trying to figure out and talk about and kick around. So this is my other area, the kind of unseen area that I don't go over here much, but I would like to. For our pepper bed, since it's a raised bed, and I put this in about, what was it, 3 years ago, Donnie? Yeah, he's nodding his head.
Yep.
So this is a hugelkultur bed, and hugelkultur means mound culture. And in Eastern Europe and in Germany, this is where the culture started. So what they do is they would make a mound, and at the bottom of the mound would be bigger logs, and then sticks, and then leaves or other type of yard debris, and then they would mound it over with soil. If I had filled this all with soil, for one thing, it would start to get compacted, and also it would have been really expensive. So the logs naturally decay over time and everything else that I put at the bottom of this, and every year it sinks about that much. And so over the winter time, we'll buy soil and we'll throw in a bag at a time and compost and fill it all the way back up. And I love this bed because it's up high enough that I can reach into the middle and I don't have to bend down. I have a back injury, so it makes it a little bit harder for me to get on my knees and bend down all the time. So this is my favorite bed by far, and it really wasn't that expensive to build it. And it is 14 feet long by about 3.5 feet wide. Perfect size for me to work in, provided we take care of the raspberries and I can get to the other side. So that's all we're going to be doing to this bed next spring. This concludes our third part of what we're going to be changing about our garden next year. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you guys some inspiration to make changes in your own yard. Thanks for watching, of course. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. I read all of our comments, and I try to answer your questions to the best of my knowledge. Again, thanks for watching, and happy gardening.